been a minute. Okay.
Do we still have to do our claps even though it's 2026?
Actually, no. We don't
Yeah, I was
actually
gonna
have to
say,
clap.
those things
since
don't.
It's
Okay, well,
2026.
you know
We're
We're
we
leaving
make our own
claps
rules.
behind in 2025, okay? So here we are. What are we doing?
Welcome. We say welcome to the Muscle Science Woman podcast. This is Rachel, your one host, and
I'm the other one, Ashleigh.
Yeah.
Still here. We made
still
it.
here,
We
still kicking.
made it through to 2026, and we're actually pretty pumped to be here. I gotta say, I hope you guys are too. I hope everybody had a good holiday, and you're coming out of that very weird time. You know, that whole thing between Christmas and New Year's when nobody knows what day it is, and everyone's just eating leftover cookies.
What is that
and
called
it's just
again?
a nightmare. Hell.
Forgot.
It's called hell. No, it's not. I mean, listen, it could be worse, but it is a little bit hellish. I'll be honest.
That was great.
It's
Hell.
a little bit hellish.
Okay. There is a word for it.
So much. Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. It's over, so that's fine.
It's over now, and we're back at it. It's 2026. Some stuff has been happening. We've caught up a little bit offline, but maybe we should catch up a little bit more because you've gone to Costa Rica and come back. You wrote your first Substack for our Substack, which is, I've been having a lot of fun with it. Substack is very new, but it's just one of our many growth things for Muscle Science for Women this year. We've got finally our own YouTube channel. I don't know why it took us 4 years. YouTube channel, but there's a link in the show notes for that. So go subscribe to that because we have our own YouTube channels and they're great. But like we're trying to get more professional in 2020.
Better late than never, right?
Exactly. So we have our own YouTube channel, we have our own Substack, and I really like the Substack because you and I have been talking about this, like in an age of obviously TikTok and AI and all of these things where, you know, attention is harder to come by, thoughtfulness is harder to come by. I'm thankful for the podcast because we're able to have real conversations, but there is something very, I think, cathartic and useful and helpful about writing things down too, and some thoughts and some ideas and concepts that maybe don't even make it onto the podcast. We're talking about some real stuff on there. Like we're going to post some very straightforward fitnessy stuff, but there's also some real deep life stuff that goes on there. So
and where can people find the Substack again?
We're going to put a link in the show notes, and it can be free, but we also think you should pay us because we're going to put the best stuff behind the paywall. And we've been very, very honored that some of you folks who are like, look, I haven't found a program that's right for me yet, but I love you guys and I've been listening to you for years, so here's some Substack money. And we're like, thank you, we'll take that Substack.
I know, when I saw that I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was awesome. I really appreciate that. We have great listeners and great community. So anyway, but you just posted your first Substack. Do you want to talk about it? It was very well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I had I don't know what you want to call this, like people say a come to Jesus moment type thing. I'm not very religious, but I've definitely been digging a little bit deeper into spirituality over the past few months. We've talked about this a little bit.
Yep.
And I think actually during that hell time that you just talked about was really like when I was having a lot of these just kind of light bulb moments. So I decided to reflect on that. And I feel like when I'm writing, and we talked about this, when I have something to reflect on and it's very just natural, right? Like I'm not forcing it. That's when I write the best or I get my ideas out the best versus if I'm like, oh, I have to write this thing tomorrow. It's complete blank and I have no brain, right? So anyways, obviously you can read the Substack post, the full post, but I just kind of gave an update on my ending to 2025, went to Costa Rica, had an amazing time. I told you about the first 24 hours, right?
Oh yeah. You sent me like a screenshot of all the crazy,
the F-ups.
Like, yeah. It was like, what is happening?
It was so bad. I'll give the one main F-up was after a almost 14-hour travel day. I took somebody else's bag
luggage
and didn't find out until 3 hours later when I got to the hotel.
You also didn't have a passport until like 24 hours before you went because you forgot it in New
that
York,
was the first F up. Oh my gosh.
That's wild.
Yeah. Maybe I should just write a Substack.
I got stressed
about
out
all the
like,
things not to do.
Seeing your text messages, I was like, oh my goodness, I would be losing my mind. And this is like coming from the most organized like you're
Yeah,
like a
I know.
human spreadsheet. It's wild.
I know. And that's why the first 24 hours of this trip, which maybe, if you're listening to this and you want to know what not to do,
Mm,
maybe I'll
yeah.
write a post on that. Even though like I know these things, but like once you make the mistakes, you're like, oh crap, I really should have paid attention to that. So
Hmm.
yeah, there was a lot of F ups in the first few days leading up to the trip, and then the first 24 hours were just complete chaos. And then everything went up from there. So it was an amazing trip. Um, Costa Rica was awesome. Ate lots of seafood and ceviche,
Mm.
drank a lot of espresso martinis. Um, but it was amazing and highly recommend Costa Rica if you want to get somewhere warm.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's like just as easy kind of as going to Florida from Chicago. That makes sense. Like it's the same time zone for me at
Yeah.
least. And the flight's like maybe 1 hour more. So it's like instead of going to Florida, which people do to get out of the cold, just another extra hour to Costa Rica and there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, so yeah, so I was just reflecting on that and then had an amazing end to 2025 as I thought it would it was. And then I ended up back in San Diego and was going to my sister's house to celebrate Christmas. And I wrote about this, but found out that my grandfather passed away on Christmas Eve morning. So that was just like a kind of another 2025
Hmm.
FU moment to me. But yeah, I, it just couldn't end on a great note, I guess. But
Mm.
it is what it is. He lived a long life. And yeah, so I was just reflecting on a lot of that and bringing back in some tools to get me back on track. I felt very lost during that time coming back to
Hmm.
Chicago after Christmas between New Year's, and lost was really like the only word I can think of. There was also other like emotional things going on in the personal life that we've talked about offline a little bit. Maybe that those will go behind the paywall.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, so I think just kind of like sitting with it for a little bit. We talked about like sitting with the emotions, not trying to numb everything and just like letting yourself feel has been a big kind of honestly something that I haven't done my whole life. And I've finally been doing that over the past few months. And it just helped me to like get so much clear on things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
that there's
awesome.
more of that in the Substack post, more details, but yeah, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm in a good headspace right now. I'm really excited about 2026. We're really excited about all the ideas that we have that we're finally like,
Hmm.
okay, we're ready to like get this going.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped.
Yeah.
How about
That's
you?
awesome. Me too. And it all ties in together, right? Because like the stuff we're talking about today, like we were going to talk a little bit about our own kind of goals for 2026. We're going to talk about muscle science for women for 2026, including a very specific thing we're going to be launching soon. And it does all kind of meld together because one of the things that was coming up for me when you were talking about what you wrote for the Substack, I have been so impressed with the amount of effort and work you have put in to sort of self-reflect and to do the hard kind of internal personal work that it takes to find happiness, find growth, all of these things during tough times. I've been really impressed with it because one of the things that I've struggled with in the last year, having a very sort of difficult, not negative, but still incredibly difficult year, is the strong desire to distract myself from things that are hard and numb myself. And this is, I think, is a very common thing for a lot of people, right? Is to just like you're exhausted, the last thing you want to do is deep self-reflection, or you're stressed out, the last thing you want to do is like find time to go do like some soft skill for yourself that's going to make you feel better in 3 months if you apply it consistently. Like these things are hard to do. They're really hard to do. And one of the things that we're doing with the Substack is this kind of more thoughtful, deep writing, which I think is good for both of us personally. And I also think it will be hopefully great for the people who are reading it because as a writer myself, as someone who kind of got started in writing and editorial and writing for magazines, and I've been sad seeing some of the evolution of how people take in content, you know, in the last like decade or so, there is still a hunger and a desire for like real connection, real learning, real reflection. It's not everybody wants every bit of information in like TikTok reels, right? So I think that there still is like so much value in doing some of that harder, deeper writing and work and thought. And that leads into one of the things I'm trying to do for 2026, which is part of trying to stop myself from distracting myself and numbing myself and like, you know, trying to really do the work, as it were. It's not anything revolutionary. Everybody else is doing it, but it's journaling. And it's something that well, I'm not going to say I've never done it. I used to do it when I was a kid, but I haven't done it really as an adult. And the excuse that I always gave myself was that because, you know, in previous careers, I did so much writing that I was just like, I don't want to write more stuff. I don't want to just like write my own stupid thoughts in a journal and I'm never going to look at it again, whatever. Like I just didn't buy into the fact that it could be helpful. And I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm going to give it a try because I've heard a lot of good things and I need something. I need something here. And also as somebody who is I don't know if you feel this way about yourself, but I feel like there are people who really like to externally process things and there are people who like to internally process things. And I'm definitely the latter. It's partly probably how I was raised. It's partly my own kind of operating system, my personality, but I will definitely work things through in my head before I say a word of it to anybody else. And sometimes I won't ever say a word of it to anybody else, which is a problem. That's another problem for another day. But the great thing about journaling is that it's still internally processing, but you're physically getting it out of yourself. You don't have to share it with anyone. But it does become more real and it does become more of a sort of shedding or processing event when you're getting it out on paper, right? So I'm doing a little bit of journaling, as it were, on the Substack, but also my own kind of personal journaling. And it really has been helpful. And people who are listening who have journaled forever are probably like, yeah, duh, no wonder it's like this huge business and everyone does it. But it really has been helpful for me. And so again, bringing it back to the Substack, like I have, to your point, like I have been writing things that just kind of are coming up for me that it just feels very natural. I just want to write about it. And maybe it's not worth you know, I don't want to do an Instagram post or we don't get to it on the podcast. So it's been very kind of like fitness, wellness oriented, but like parenthood stuff. So things I've changed my mind on since I've become a parent, body image stuff since becoming a parent, like very real stuff I think a lot of moms can connect with. I've been putting it on there and I've gotten a lot of like satisfaction and catharsis from writing about it there. So we'll stop talking about the Substack now, but I hope that people get on there and engage with it and you can send us messages and you can comment and you can do all that there too and let us know if there's something you want us to be talking about. It's been really great.
Yeah. And I just want to comment on the journaling side of things because we're the same. Like for the longest time, it's just like internal processing and like going through things in my head. And I've really actually like over the past several months realized I do need time to process things like alone. So when something happened, and I'm thinking back to like just the last half of 2025, like when something happened that was emotional or whatever, and I didn't have time, like a few days really to like be alone, not just alone, but like be able to process, that's when shit kind of got all messy versus when I had time to like sit, even just process throughout the day or like let my mind go to different places and then like work through that. That's when I finally started to become more aware of these things. And I think that's actually like what has helped me to grow from that standpoint over the past few months is like stepping outside of, this sounds weird. I told you this the other day, like stepping outside of my mind and like kind of looking at it from the outside, if that makes sense. Like looking at all these feelings, looking at like what's happening and the trajectory of things and just like being able to view it from if it were someone else that I was speaking to and they were hearing all these things, right? And I think that's where the journaling part comes in too. I have this right here because I have also taken up more of the writing, like I said, but one of the other things that I think can be useful for people is something that I've been doing like on and off for the past several months, but definitely these past 2 weeks. And this is where that Substack post came out of is I'll go on walks and I'll talk to text. Like I'll just start talking and like getting like everything out of my brain, but I'll be recording it. So it's talk to text, right? So it's writing down everything that I'm saying. And there's this app that I started using called Whisper. Um, it You don't have to use it. There's so many, like you could just use voice note or in your notes app, talk to text. But that has allowed me to, because I'm not as fast of a writer as my thoughts, probably just because my handwriting sucks and I haven't written that much in a while, like handwritten. So the talk to text just allows me to get all of my ideas just like continuously out. And then I have it all written down and then I go back and I'm like, then I'll take my journal out and like write down, or maybe I'll like type it. I'll like pull the key ideas and then kind of rewrite it from there. But that has been like a game changer just because sometimes if you're not someone who wants to sit down and just write, the talk to text or just like voice memos to yourself can really help you to get all that out of your brain. So anyway, just a little bit of a tip there, but yeah.
Highly recommend journaling. I know it's a hot take, but
Yeah.
you should do it. Okay. Do you have any other, I know it's so funny how like divisive the whole 2026 like or New Year's resolution goals are. Like people are either like, don't you dare set a new goal in January, you dummy. Like only dummies who fail do that. And then there are people who are like, of course you should have a goal in the new year. Come on, like do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals that you are just feeling besides, the business stuff that we have talked about and we'll continue to talk about? But is there anything kind of personally that you have been thinking about for this new year?
I think for sure the biggest thing personally is to really, how do I put this? Like fall in love with myself again. If that sounds so corny saying it out loud, but like not even again, just like
feeling that.
Figure out like be like look forward to spending time with myself, right? And like figuring out who I am now after the complete like shifts that happened in 2025 for my life. And so it's really, actually starting that next chapter. And it's not just because, okay, it's like a new year and, F you 2025, which is a lot of what a lot of people are saying. We talked about this last time. Like, yeah, 2025, you sucked, but we also learned so much. And being past that and like, coming into 2026, yes, it's the beginning of a new year, but just like taking all those lessons for what they were and like being able to now step forward in that versus continuing to ruminate on those things. I think that's like the biggest thing that my goal for 2026 is to come back to myself and learn what that actually is and who I actually am. And just be excited about that. So I had written something down. And I don't remember what it was in my journal. This is it. So I'll share this and then we can move on. But I wrote about this, but the Stutz documentary, I think I told you about that. It's a documentary about Jonah Hill's therapist, like his life and teachings. And I actually got the book that is associated with it. I haven't started it yet. I just got it on Amazon. It's called The Tools, 5 Tools to Help You Find Courage, Creativity, and Willpower, Inspire You to Live Life in Forward Motion. And one of the first kind of tools he talks about is your life force. So if you're lost, coming back to your life force, which is 3 things. It's your relationship with your body, right? Yourself. It's a relationship with your body, like the physical body, relationship with your people, so your friends, family, and then relationship with yourself, which is like your mind, right? And one of the things that stood out me with the self part was he said, get yourself in a relationship with your unconscious. Nobody knows what's in their the unconscious unless they activate it. And this is coming from what we just talked about. Start writing. Writing is a mirror. It reflects what's going on in your unconscious. Sorry, I said subconscious. Your unconscious. And things will come out that you didn't know. It says, if you're lost, don't try to figure it out. Let it go and work on your life force. Work on figuring out those 3 pillars, which are your body, a relationship with others, and a relationship with yourself. And so anyway, that was like something that I wrote down that was powerful for me.
I love that.
So,
That's awesome. Okay.
how about you?
I would say I wrote a couple things down in my journal. I don't have it on me, but I think the thing that I guess two things. One is a little bit it needs to be what's the word? You know, made it's too vague right now, but it's the physical thing, which I know most people listening probably have some kind of physical goal, whether it's like get stronger, get hot, whatever, like get a better deadlift, whatever it is. Who cares what it is? Most of us have one. And for me, it's like there is something about that, but it's also now that the like having babies chapter of my life is closed, 100 million billion% not doing that again. So now I can come back to, again, I guess, relationship with my body, which is feel like it's not just a vehicle for like having and keeping babies alive. I need to like remember what it was like for my body to like be mine, and I could do what I wanted with it and like feel good in it and like the way it looks and like the way it feels and like the way it performs. So there's something there that I haven't really like clarified yet, but I am looking forward to just improving my relationship with my physical body. And I think some of that is about challenging it again in a different way and just getting more in tune with it and I'm still coming out of that. It's, she's only 9 months old. So I'm not like 100% there yet, but I know this year I can start to work on that. So that's a big thing. But the bigger one is, and this also ties into everything we've talked about and everything we're going to do for Muscle Science for Women, is I really want to be more intentional about trying to be present and less distracted in my life. And I know this is something that pretty much everybody can relate to. And it's almost like you're a outlier or you're radical in some way if you do not feel like you're constantly being distracted, because our world is so set up for you to numb yourself, be distracted, do stupid little things instead of the things you want to be doing, all of that, right? And as parents too, we're also constantly being told like, you got to enjoy this moment because it's going to be gone. And if you don't, you're going to regret it, which adds to your guilt about maybe it's being on your phone or maybe being tired or wishing you had a break, and people constantly telling you your babies are only babies for a minute and you gotta whatever. So like it's this whole thing of like I'm completely overstimulated and overwhelmed and exhausted. It's the most monotonous, tedious job in the world. And of course, so beautiful and lovely, blah, blah, blah. Everyone who's listening, I don't need to hear. Everybody knows this, okay? Everybody who's a parent knows this.
Yeah.
It is the hardest thing in the world. It's the best thing in the world, but it's so damn hard. And one of the ways that we cope in this modern world, I don't know how parents in the 80s stayed up all night in bed with no phone or podcast or a show to distract them. I don't know how you guys did it. But anyway, one of the ways parents cope is to, scroll on your phone, to watch TV at night in the 1 hour you get to yourself. And every day I'm thinking, I should be doing something with this. I should be working harder. I should be working on my hobbies, on my goals. I should be doing this and doing that. And I try to give myself some grace that it's like, this is early, this is new, you got back to yourself eventually after the first one, you'll do it again. But I just am constantly finding this disconnect between what I'm doing and what I want to be doing and how I'm feeling and how I want to be feeling. And I think that disconnect getting stronger is showing me that I'm ready to start like aligning my actual actions with what I want to be doing. So yeah, and that takes real intentional focus, right? It's not just about saying like, hey, this year, I really want to spend less time on my phone. It's like, yeah, so does everybody, and we're not doing it. So what are we going to do? Yeah. So we need to really create some parameters, some I don't know. I need to be intentional with it, but I'm ready because I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of wasting my time. I'm tired of, and I do have this very fleeting feeling. I think we probably all feel it to some extent, but it really kicks up when you are, maybe in midlife with young children that you can watch age before your eyes. I'm like, damn, like time does go by. and I don't want to
Yeah.
waste it. And I'm never going to be younger than I am now. And, you know, in 10 years, I'm going to think, wow, I was so young and healthy and fit and had energy then, and I didn't do it because I thought I was old and didn't have energy. You know what I mean? I'm just
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
I'm feeling a real sense of urgency to like get back to what I'm supposed to be doing, my like
Yeah.
purpose, you know? And it's,
I think alignment is like one of
yes.
the biggest words for me and for us, really just
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying for 2026. It's like
Yeah.
getting back to like what's actually aligned with where we want to go, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that's something that is really powerful. And
Yeah.
again, using all of the ways that we were out of alignment in 2025, right? There were so many
Mhm.
things that I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like using that as like, okay, again, learning from that and saying like, okay, I made it through that, and it's helping me become clearer and clearer on like what I want for my life right now. And I know we're like a little bit different like age ranges here. But I've just been thinking a lot about like kind of going like in your 30s, early mid
Hmm.
30s, which is where I'm at. A lot of people talk about how it's like you're back to puberty again, but it's a new puberty where you're figuring all this stuff up, but you're now actually conscious of it. So like you're going
Mm.
into like this next chapter of your life where when you were going into this as a teenager, like your brain wasn't fully developed yet, like you were just kind of going with it, and now it's like you come out of your 20s or earlier 30s where you're doing all the things you thought you were supposed to be doing, and now you're at this point, at least this is where I'm at, like you're thinking back to like what was I actually doing? And what were all those things that I was doing just because I was told I was supposed to do this or
Mm.
whatever? So I think alignment and like really during this time for me at least, it's like, okay, I'm in a completely different chapter of my life. I'm learning to make decisions only for myself versus the last 11 years were making decisions with someone else in mind. Um, and figuring out how to do that is just a whole other kind of process. But yeah, I think alignment and like doing things with purpose is really what I want my 2026 to be, or at least my future to be from this point on, is like actually being purposeful and actually doing and making decisions that are in line with like who I want to be from this point forward, not who I was or who I thought I should be, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. With that in mind, should we maybe just very generally chat about and tease our
Yeah.
new
Love a
product?
tease.
Love a tease. So every year we have a new product launch because we just can't stop all the
Can't help
amazing.
ourselves.
We can't help ourselves. We have so much knowledge we want to give to you guys. So last
Yeah.
year it was the Fit Pregnancy Specialization Program. We've got to grow your glutes that folks really love. I don't know why people like butts, I guess. We've got
Love
a
it.
shoulders specialization program. We've got our flagship. So this year is a little bit different, very much in line with what we've been talking about.
Hmm.
And this is still early days. We're not quite ready to launch it yet, but because we've been thinking and talking and sort of living and breathing it for the last little while, we just want to like tease it out there. So we're going to be doing a dopamine reset recalibration challenge. And it's something we're going to be doing with our folks, our community
Community.
who sign
Yes.
up for it, our community. And all of this is tying into what I know so many of us are feeling, which is this feeling stuck, feeling maybe a little bit lost, feeling a little bit just dull. And I'm doing this, I have this kind of lifestyle, like whatever's going on in my life, I want to snap out of it and focus and, you know, spend more time doing the things I want to be doing. And like you said, I want to get more in alignment with what I actually want to be doing, but I'm sort of over here instead. And I'm just like, I can't quite figure out how to just jump out of that rut and get to where I want to be. And a lot of that is because we are not being intentional with our time and with our choices every day. And we have so many choices every day. It's easy to get kind
Mhm.
of lost on the way a little bit. So we want to do this recalibration challenge that involves a number of things. This isn't just your typical like 7-day, don't eat crap for 7 days and you're going to feel so much better and your life's going to be fixed. Like, sorry, if it was that easy, neither of us would have jobs. But what this really is a much kind of more deeper approach to mindfulness and intention with your choices that is going to sort of strip away a lot of the crap that we maybe waste our time with that we don't need, allow us to be thoughtful about how we feel when that is stripped away. And then what can we do? How can we redirect our energy and our desire and our passion and our time into a direction that is going to be more aligned with our goals, right? So I'm super excited about this. I think it's something that is so sorely needed for myself personally, and I'm sure for a lot of people listening. And then there's also going to be sort of a component of this that's not just like strip away the crap, strip away the extra stuff, think about what you actually want to do, and then we will help individuals sort of intentionally set like, okay, now that it's stripped away and that it's just us and our goals, how do we actually move into that next phase? How do we actually then go use that energy and sort of attack what we want to get done, Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm stoked. And again, it's not something where it's like, take this challenge and fix your life in 2 weeks. No, it's learning to start to incorporate these things, become more aware of really the day and age that we live in now, which is we're just so overstimulated, and it's causing our focus to just go out the window. I think there was something that I listened to or read the other day where it was like every 7 seconds, our mind is like looking for something, right?
So
and
bad.
It's like, you can't just sit there and just like be.
And then
I've
been literally
yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I've literally been like playing with this. You guys have probably seen these like, what's it called? Like bros who are like raw dogging flights, who go on like 6-hour flights and they like refuse to read a book or watch a movie and they just like sit there and stuff like, okay, that again, maybe that's going a little too far, but like even little things like I feel like an idiot even for saying this, but I know other people will be there. Like if I'm in the passenger seat and we're driving somewhere, I'm trying to literally not have my phone in my hand in the car, because to your point, it's like, I'm not a weak-minded person. I'm not a weak-willed person, but like everybody else, if you have your smartphone in your hand, guess what you're going to be doing? Scrolling and looking at some dumb shit that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I've been really playing with this, not only trying to be present and not have my stupid phone in my hand around my kids, because I think that's a whole other thing, but just playing with the idea of like not having to be stimulated in this low, what's the word? Like low effort way. And that's a big part of I don't want to give away all the secrets of this challenge, this reset that we're going to do, because there will be some rules, there will be some criteria, there will be some of that, stuff that you've probably seen or tried yourself before of like, we're cutting this, we're cutting that, we're getting rid of this for a few days, whatever. But it's also one of the big concepts that we talk about that I think is really important is this effort reward kind of dichotomy, in that we are living in a world right now where we get rewards, like little crappy fleeting rewards, but rewards anyway, with such little effort. And that's really harming our brains. It really is. I mean, this is not a hard sell for people. I think most of us will agree that these little tiny dopamine rewards we get from opening any app on our phone, from eating any garbage, from watching whatever it is that we're doing, these things in itself are not evil. They're not bad, but we're doing them too much. We're doing them too often. We're replacing better things with this too much. And so we've created this system where we're expected to kind of get these little fleeting crappy rewards for doing nothing. And so then, because of the way our bodies and our brains are wired, we don't want to do the hard work for the bigger reward, because it's a lot of work. It's too much effort. It's too much effort. We don't want to do that when we can just get this little reward right here for doing nothing. So it takes a really kind of hard reset to fix that. It's so much more rewarding, obviously, to put effort in and get the real reward of something you actually want or something you actually value. But we're all kind of, a lot of us, stuck in this loop of this very, very low effort reward system. And it takes a very conscious effort to snap out of it. And that's going to be a big part of what this challenge is that we're doing.
Yeah. And then also kind of tying that back to like what this podcast is, right? Muscle Science for Women. We started this because we wanted to help women get strong and feel strong and feel confident in their bodies. And a lot of that comes from like building muscle and like feeling just like a superhero in your own body, right? And one of the biggest things with building muscle is that it is something that takes time and it doesn't happen right away. And this is kind of another piece of that too. It's like when we get these constant hits of dopamine, these constant rewards so quickly, so effortlessly, it actually makes the process, those other processes that take time, and time is literally the only thing, like you can't shortcut these things. Building muscle, you can't shortcut. There's no shortcut. It makes those things feel a lot harder because they become more boring, right? They become mundane and you're not getting those quick hits, right? And so you're in the gym now, like scrolling on your phone, trying to get those dopamine hits, which is now taking away from your actual, like why you went to the gym in the first place, right? And so those are the things that, at least for me, the last like 6 months, I've really fallen into that, like gotten so distracted by some of those things. And even all of the things that I've been doing, like for myself and not trying to numb things and becoming more aware of that, I feel like there's a lot more from like the gym perspective type of like vibe that I've been putting out there over the past few months, which is just like go there and, you know, get it done. That's one thing. But I think if you really want to see results and come back to actually like delaying that gratification and like being able to see what that does for the long term for building muscle, for like, you know, anything, right? In terms of becoming like your most confident self and building the body that you want, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in like one quick dopamine hit. So anyways, more of the story is like we're trying to bring you back to understanding what that and feeling what that long-term reward can feel like versus that short-term hit, I guess.
Yes.
That made any sense.
And this challenge isn't just about like devices or phones, for example. It is a huge part of it because I would argue that's probably one of the, that's got to be one of the top two, probably most sort of addictive, time wasting, insidious things in sort of our modern life right now. So it is a big part of it. But I think a lot of people listening too, you guys, I hope that you're listening to this and you're getting excited about it too, because you are also, self-awareness is the first part. Like most of us have hit the point now. I think maybe 5 years ago it was different. 7 years ago it was different, when people were just like, woo, social media is so cool. What a way to connect. And I think most of us have hit a point where even if we still like it, even if we still use it for our business or whatever, most of us do get the idea now that it is probably net negative for most of us, at least the way we're currently using it, and are also sick of the low effort dopamine. Like this is why it is an addiction. And it really is, in the same way that drugs or alcohol or food or sex or any of these things can be an addiction, where you get to this point where you're barely even enjoying it anymore and you're still doing it because it's just this habit. It's this routine. It's, you don't know what to do without it. Like if I find myself spending time like scrolling too much on Instagram or some social media thing, even when I'm doing it, I'm like, this sucks. Like, I'm not getting anything out of this. Like, I'm not learning anything. I'm not missing anything by not being on it, but it's a habit now. It's this crappy habit that kind of barely sustains me. But if I'm actually thoughtful about it, I'm like, this is not how I actually want to feel or spend my time. And I want people to think about, no, it's not. It's like the absence of that raw having to feel things instead, or like, well, what do I do instead if this isn't here? But I want people to do like a little thought experiment, because I've been dabbling with it a little bit and I'm excited to do this in the challenge with the folks who sign up with us. Like, and again, some people may be listening are like, I'm already there, I'm already on top of this. But I think enough people are not, that this will be an interesting thought experiment. But it's like, think about if you just spent the next week and every time you went to the gym, you did not have your phone on you. You are not listening to music. You're not listening to a podcast. You are not scrolling in between sets. Just think about what that would be like. There are entire like reels dedicated to the nightmare that is showing up to the gym without your headphones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I show up to the gym without my headphones, I'm like, oh my God, I have to I have to be alone with my thoughts. I have to hear the music in the gym. Like this is a nightmare, you know?
Yeah.
Think about what it would feel like. It would be probably for a lot of us, it would be annoying. It would be distracting. It would be uncomfortable. And then maybe after a day or two, when you aren't taking 4 extra minutes in between sets because you're looking at stupid TikTok, right? Maybe you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually feeling so much more focused on what I'm doing. I got out of there 20 minutes earlier. I get the sort of sense of satisfaction of like doing this the, hardcore way of not being distracted or listen, whatever. Like, I think there's some excitement to this challenge and the discomfort that we're going to feel by getting rid of some of these sort of like little dopamine band-aids that we use every day. Like, I'm going to be uncomfortable doing it for sure.
Yeah. And I was also like, that had me thinking too, and I was thinking about this before, like even kind of going back in time to like the different points of when different technologies came out. So in my head, I'm thinking like, what about, remember those the iPods?
Yeah.
That was
iPod
just
shuffles.
music.
Yeah.
Then it was like this little thing. I'm like, wait, I actually have an iPod shuffle. I think still, maybe I gave them away in my move, but I used to have like all of my old technology. I'm like, what if I didn't bring my phone to the gym? And what if, instead of completely cutting out the music side of it, that was the only thing that I had access to, where I either had a Walkman, or a little iPod shuffle.
Out.
Discman. But that was like, you didn't have access to anything else. Like there wasn't an ability to listen to music and scroll and do all that stuff. It was like, you only have this one thing. Like going back to whatever year that was when the iPods came out. And there was nothing.
1987.
No, it was free for like 2000 something. But anyway, but that's like another thing too. It's like thinking about these things because some people, we're gonna have rules and things that we want to follow through with, but even just kind of like having different.
How can you take a step back? Yeah, like make it a little bit more analog. I agree. Like when I was in university when I was running marathons, believe it or not. Anyway, and I had an iPod shuffle, and you can't really like. Even if you just listen to music on your iPhone while you're at the gym, you can still go into Spotify, check in the different lists, and you're skipping this because you don't like it. And the shuffle, you just turn on the music and the music plays. Maybe
the only thing you do is next and back.
You don't know
That's
exactly.
It.
You don't know what's going on. Like, I love that idea. I just we just waste so much time. And it may be another thought experiment you could do. And this isn't about judgment. This is about observation, right? Because again, we talk about this all the time, and I believe it strongly. None of us are perfect, but you and I are not in the business of judging people for anything when it comes to your health and wellness choices. We all make dumb decisions. We all make decisions that other people would disagree with. You need to do what's right for you, and it's all about learning. However, it would be another interesting thought experiment to go to the gym sometime and just observe around you. Just take a look around you at like how many people don't have headphones in. How many people aren't looking at their phone between sets? How many people aren't sitting on the machine scrolling between? Like, just check it out. Like when I lived in New York, I always thought this was fascinating. Go on the subway, and I would count how many people are reading books versus on their phones.
Yeah.
And every year it was less books, more phones. And it's fascinating to just actually take a step back and look and see how are we using our brains all day? Our brains are not meant to be constantly distracted by low dose.
Stimulated,
Yes, all the time. It's not good for us. So how can we use these tools more mindfully, more intentionally, less in general? How can we use our brains the way we want to use them in 2026?
And I know we want to wrap this up. There's so many little ways that we can. It doesn't have to be and we talk about this all the time. It doesn't have to be like all or nothing, right? It doesn't have to be like, go to the gym and never like, don't bring anything. You're just there. Like, yes, that could be, if you want to jump right in and test that out 100%. But even just the little things that I've noticed over the past, few weeks, I talked about this a little bit, like putting my phone on do not disturb and not constantly getting that vibration or the alert that someone's texting me or something's happening. That in itself just has made such a difference because you're not getting that constant dopamine hit, especially on like if you have an Apple Watch, right? turning that off, because that's just that buzzes every few minutes and you're like, oh, who texted me? Like, whoops, like what's the notification, right? So even just simple things of putting your phone on do not disturb for a few hours during the day, or like setting that up so that it happens, at 7 p.m. at night, right? Those little things, and that's what we're gonna kind of like bring awareness to and teach a little bit more. So there's a spectrum, right? It doesn't have to be like this all or nothing. We're never all or nothing, right? But there are little things that we can do and build up and build upon over this period of time that you'll look back on and be like, wow, that actually did make a huge difference. And yeah. So anyways.
And I'm excited to see for us and for the people who do it with us, what people get excited about and what people do once they've kind of had this recalibration, right? Like, I'm really excited to see where the future goes once we've kind of done, like, because people who are going to do this are going to be very motivated to do it. And what happens when you kind of free up some space in your brain and feel ready to kind of take on another challenge, right? Like, I still remember, I don't know if you have this moment, but I feel like I remember the month that my brain stopped being able to focus on one thing at a time. Because again, and I don't know if you, because you're, again, like a little bit younger, but like maybe you're still of this generation. Alex and I were talking about this the other day about how, like, if we are fortunate enough to get really old, we're going to be the generation that was born without social media and internet, right? Like, it existed in the 80s when I was born, but like we didn't have it at home. Like, we weren't born into smartphones, internet, social media, right? Like, that came when we got a little bit older. And so, like, people who are alive now that were like, I was alive before there were like cars and whatever. And people are like, oh my goodness, you're like this weird alien. Like, we're going to be that for some generation down the road. We're going to be the last people who were alive before the internet was everything, And that's kind of a fascinating thing to think about. And I remember it was a little bit later for me when social media and streaming services and all of these things, kind of like this confluence of all these things at once. I remember a day when I was like home by myself, I was working at home, and I think I had some like Netflix on in the background, and I was like scrolling my phone, and I was walking over here. And I remember literally physically stopping and thinking, I cannot concentrate on one thing at a time anymore. I cannot. And I grew up being a classic book nerd. Like, I was reading adult novels when I was 8 years old. I've always been somebody who loves to read and write and like engage in that way. And I could sit for hours and read books, and it was never wasted time. And I could be not distracted. I don't care what's going on around me. I'm reading a book. And I remember the day. I remember where I was in my condo when I was thinking, I cannot look at one thing for like more than 10, 15 minutes before I have to like pick up my phone or do something else. And I remember thinking, oh shit, this is not good. And I haven't done anything really meaningful in that time from then to now to really fight that. And that's not how I want to be. So I'm ready to really do this. I think a lot of other people are ready to do this. And if this like resonates with you, I hope that you guys are very excited. I mean, we're even too early to say, like, we don't even have like a wait list anything for this yet. But like, if this is resonating for you guys, like, send us an email or something, like reach out to us
or comment on this.
Comment on it on Spotify. Like, say like, I'm in, I want to do this, because we want to gauge. I mean, we're doing it regardless, but I'd love to just kind of hear back from people if this is something that is like exciting you the way it's exciting us. Because it is coming out
also
soon.
feedback. Also just feedback on things that like maybe resonate with you with the things that we talked about, or other things that you're noticing, because we want to hear about that. We want to make this like as practical as possible and like connect with you all. So if there's things that
struggle with,
the things that you struggle with, and so,
I love that. Okay, well, let's end it there before we give away too many of our secrets. But this is coming out like soon, early January. We will have this out like we made this commitment before the end of Q1, probably earlier rather than later, but I'm going to be sort of traveling and stuff. So things might be a little, maybe a bit more delayed than we wanted, but we're getting it out sooner rather than later. We want all of you guys to do it with us. Super pumped to challenge ourselves in this way. And I think that it's going to be awesome. So,
and we'll add a link in the show notes to, just subscribe to the podcast so you or sorry, subscribe to the Substack newsletter. Obviously, subscribe to the podcast, but just so you're kind of, in the loop as we launch more things. And then we'll probably have a sign up page or something coming out soon to just get on the email list for that specifically. But yeah.
All right. 2026. It's looking up, guys. Here's
to
crushing in 2026 and
alignment.
Until next time, don't do stupid shit.
Don't be insane.
All right. We love you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.